Good morning from the Isle of Skye. Well, I didn't think 12 videos ago that I'd be doing a video from indoors. You know, I prefer to be doing it from the great outdoors, the place that I love. However, the times that we're in have dictated this for me. So rather than just obviously keeping quiet until who knows when, I thought I'd do one from indoors because I've had a few messages recently from people asking me how I display my panoramic images on Instagram. You know, where you scroll through the image rather than just seeing a single panoramic image with a white border top and bottom, you know, which looks really small on the screen. You know, you can do multiple squares where you scroll through and you see the panoramic reveal before your eyes. So I thought, well, why not just do that? You know, do a video on how you do that. You know, a lot of you may know how to do it already. So if you do, obviously, you know, close this window now. But if you do, you know, we'll jump into Photoshop and you can follow along and see how I do it. So in Photoshop, we have this panoramic image here, which I captured last February in Sedona on my honeymoon. And we have a really nice 40-inch print of this hanging on our lounge wall, and it's absolutely stunning. So it's made up of 7 individual portrait images stitched together in Lightroom to create this rather huge panoramic image. So if we look at the image size for this, we'll see it's 3240 by 1080. So it has a ratio of 3:1. So 3 1080s are 3240. So how do we crop this down into squares for Instagram? Well, one method is using the crop tool. So the reason why I'm going to show you this is because it can transfer easily over to the 4:1 ratio images, your 5:1 ratio images, and so on. So hit C on the keyboard, brings up the crop tool. Now, as you can see, it's gone to the bounds of my image. So if we go up to the top left-hand corner here, we'll see we've got original ratio. So I'm going to click on that and select 1:1 square. And that will jump to the middle of our image. Now, before we continue, we need to make sure we have snap selected. So go up to the view menu and make sure snap has a tick next to it, which I have now. Okay, so what that means is that as we move the crop box within the image, it'll kind of snap to the edges. So what we do is click on the left mouse button and hold it down. Hold a shift key and drag to the left-hand side of the image. Now, as it gets to the very left-hand edge, you'll find it snap into place. Now, that's why we have snap selected. So we let go of the mouse button and let go of a shift key and hit enter. And there we have our first image. So we save that, and I'm just going to save it in a folder on my desktop called IG as a JPEG. And there we go. Now, one thing I didn't point out there was the image size. Now, apparently 1080 is kind of the optimal width for an image in Instagram. If you make them any smaller, what Instagram will have to do when you upload is upscale your image, and it could create pixelization, so you lose quality. So 1080 is apparently the optimal width. So don't close this image, just undo what you've just done. So Command Z or Control Z on the Windows PC, and that will take us back to our starting position. And as you see, we're in the middle of the image now. Now that's going to be our second image, so all we have to do is hit enter till we've got our square, and we'll save that, guess what, as 2. And there we go. And we undo that again, so Command Z or Control Z. And then all we do is similar to what we did for the first image, but we drag, we drag to our right-hand side. And there we have our third image. We save that as 3. Now, what I normally do is for a fourth image in a 3:1 ratio panoramic is I add a fourth one which shows the full image together. So the simple way to do this is change our canvas size, which is Command Option C on a Mac or Control Alt C on a Windows PC, and that'll bring up our canvas size. Now all we're going to do is make our height the same as our width. So our width is currently 3240, so we make our height 3240. Now we can change the colour of the background if we so wish by clicking on this little square here, and we can move it around, and we can have like say a nice, I don't know, let's make it a nice teal blue color, shall we say. And there we go. And then we'll change the image size to 1080 because we don't want to have to reduce the size all the way down and just create a big image as well. And there we go. Yeah, it looks a bit garish, but we'll go with that for now. And then we save that as 4. And there we have our 4 images. Now before I go into Instagram, what I'll do is I'll show you how we do a 4:1 ratio image. So I have one selected here. Now I've just cropped this down from the original image and just created a 4:1 ratio from it. So the premise is the same. We use the crop tool and we start off with our first image, which is the left hand side. And there we go, and we'd save that as 1. Then we would undo. Now the second one is a little bit more complicated, but it's not overly. What we do is we drag to the left as we did before. Now what you'll find is as the right hand of the crop box reaches the middle of the panoramic image, it'll snap, and then you just let go of the mouse button and the shift key, and there we have our second image. So we save that as 2. We undo that. Do the same again, but drag to the other side, and then we'll find the left hand side kind of snaps to the middle of the image there. Save that as 3, undo that, and then drag all the way to the right. There we go, save that, and save that as 4. So jumping back to the previous one, say you didn't want that, especially this horrible blue color. So let's just undo that to there. What I sometimes see people do is they actually have a blurred version of the original image sitting behind that. Now that's really easy to do. All we do is make sure you've got your layers showing. So window layers, and that will appear somewhere on your screen. I have it on my right hand here. So you can see we have one layer here which is called background. Now we want to unlock that because we want to duplicate it and we want to do something with that in a minute. So we just click on the little padlock on the right and that unlocks that layer. Then we duplicate that layer. Don't have to give it a name. And then we select our background layers because that's the one we're going to enlarge. So then we just change our canvas size again. So Command Option C or Control Alt C on a Windows PC, and we'll make it the same height. So 3240 in this case, and I'll just zoom out a bit so we can see what we're doing, zoom out again. So with the background layer selected, we do Command or Control T, which is transform. And then go to the middle bottom square here, hold down the Option key or the Alt key, and then click and drag to whatever you want. So I'm going to go to about there, and then hit the Enter key, to accept that. Now we have an enlarged version of our main image in the background, but it's still very crisp and clear, so we won't actually blur that. So easy to do. We do go up to Filter, Blur, Gaussian Blur, and all we do is we drag this slider left and right until we've got a blur that we're happy with. Now I'm going to go with something like, I want to make it recognizable but not too recognizable. And there we go, and I'll just move that round a little bit till I'm happy with it, to something like that, and then we could save that our 4th image. Okay, so you now have your 4, 5, 6 squares ready for Instagram. You've got to get them onto your phone. So I just use the airdrop feature on my iMac to get them onto my iPhone. You may want to use Dropbox or whatever, however you normally do it. So if we head on over to Instagram, we tap on the new post icon, and then we now have the image selector. Now it normally selects the very last image in your camera roll, which will hopefully be the last of your squares. If you'll see the bottom right hand corner of the main image, we have an icon, we have 3 icons. We wanted to select the right hand icon, which is like a layer of squares. And that means that we're selecting multiple images. Now you'll see now in the thumbnails, it has put a 1 against the very last image in your camera roll, which is probably the last image of the Instagram. Now we don't want that as number 1, we want that as the last one, in this instance 4. So we actually tap on that to deselect it, and then we tap on the first image of our panoramic, which will be that one there. So then we select the second one, so you can now see we've got 1, 2, 3, 4. Tap on the next button on the top right hand corner, And we can actually scroll through just to see that our panoramic is right. We've selected the right images. Tap on the next. We can write a caption. So this is a test. OK on that. Tag people, add location, add your hashtags or whatever. And then tap on the share button. Wait a second for it to upload. And now you can see your lovely panoramic. If you scroll to the right, it will appear before your eyes. And then the very last one, you've got that small one. And that's it. So I hope you like this video. And what I have done as well, I've actually created a PDF for this, which is a PDF guide on how you do this. If you don't want to keep watching this video, you can just open up the PDF, you can download it, open it up, and then there's step-by-step instructions. So I'll add a link in the description below. Hope you liked this video. If you did, feel free to give it a thumbs up. Any comments is always appreciated. And if you haven't already, consider subscribing to the channel to see more content from me. Hit that bell icon to be notified of when another video is uploaded. Until that one, bye-bye.